Joining us now for analysis on some of Biden's nominees is Mark Geist. He's a former United States Marine and the best-selling co-author of the book 13 Hours, which details his experience, the infamous attack in Benghazi, to which he's credited with saving the lives of 25 people. So, Mark, I really appreciate you coming on the program tonight. First, I want to say thank you for your service, but building on that as well, I know that you have some own personal experience with Susan Rice, for example. She's been named the director of the Domestic Policy Council, but she's also been directly related to a lot of the events in your life. So I want to get your response to that nomination.
You know, thanks for having me on, Alex, and thanks for your support of all the veterans out there. I mean, you know, Joe Biden, I don't think could have made a worse pick. This woman has zero experience in domestic policy, and even her foreign policy is fragmented with mistakes throughout her career. Not just Benghazi, but several other ones with the Arab Spring, working with Obama. But I'm not surprised that she is that pick. It is a position that doesn't require Senate confirmation, so there's no real oversight as to her having to ask those hard questions, and that's, I think, why Biden put her in that position, or got her to be in there. I mean, she comes from a very wealthy family, and she's pretty much just a Washingtonian who's part of the swamp.
And I think that you hit the nail on the head in regard to one point, and it's the idea that it seems as if they want to give her a job, but they don't know what job to give her necessarily. Because as you point out, she doesn't have too much experience in the domestic realm too much. She's more so looked at as foreign policy, as you point out. And to that point, an unsuccessful foreign policy outlook in a lot of the ways. But I do want to also focus on the veterans issue more in depth because it's one that doesn't get enough attention in my perspective. Dennis McDonough, he's been nominated now to lead the Veterans Affairs Agency. Do you think that he's the right man to really address some of the concerns that I know that a lot of veterans do have with that department?
I don't see how he could be. I mean, he's not a veteran. I mean, Joe Biden broke from tradition of most past presidents of having a veteran put into that position. And after being in a war that's lasted 20 years, and President Trump is the one that's been able to extricate us from those two wars in the Middle East, and not have a combat veteran that is leading that department is a slap in the face, I think, to all veterans. And, I mean, to me especially, I think it's disrespectful. I think it is it's just uncalled for. But, again, not surprised from Joe Biden. I mean, he is surrounding himself with those that have always been loyal to Obama and loyal to Joe Biden. I mean, McDonough was the chief of staff. Before that, he is, again, part of the swamp. He's another Washingtonian that's been there forever and a career politician. And a career politician, no matter how many visits he's made to the Middle East, how many times he's visited Walter Reed, does not know what veterans go through, does not know the needs of those veterans across this country.
And Mark, I do want to build on that point because over the past 4 years, I've heard a lot of veterans say that the system has been getting a little bit better, but there's still a lot of progress to be done. In fact, I was just talking to a veteran last night, and he was saying that he recently went in and he at least was getting the right answers that he was looking for. But when he finally got to getting treatment for something that he needed, he felt like it was too boilerplate, something that he thought was kind of a one-size-fits-all type of solution to something that didn't necessarily fit his needs. And I know that's just a one-off, an anomaly perhaps, but in your opinion, is the VA system doing enough for veterans? Is there still a lot that they can do in order to improve on it?
Well, I think President Trump has made great strides in improving the VA, in the VA system. I mean, he's given us Veterans Choice, which was something that should have been done a long time ago at the beginning of this war, because we've got so many veterans that are not near a hospital, a VA hospital, where they can get that treatment. But more so than that, and you know, the VA is government health care, and it is fraught with those people who have been in place and entrenched there and are so used to that boilerplate system, as that other veteran has said. I mean, I was just talking to another veteran the other day that is paralyzed from the chest down. He was trying to get in. He's got an event that he could come to that's going to help him both with the PTSD, the traumatic brain injuries, and with his assistants. But the VA scheduled him an appointment during the time that this event is going on. It's a week-long event, and he can't change that. I mean, simple things like that are things that that should be remedied, and it's just a matter of having someone or having people that care about the veterans. And, you know, I don't mean that to say that the people working there don't, but they are doing what they're told from the higher-ups, and the higher-ups are making basically, like you said, boilerplate government-ran healthcare, and it needs to be improved. I mean, we've lost too many and had way too many people who've been injured and served this country so diligently and so honorably that we should do everything we can to help these guys and gals.
You're absolutely right. I mean, when we're talking about sacrifices, there's no bigger sacrifice than what our veterans have given for the people in this country. The reason why I can go on a TV show and talk about the news and talk to you, for example, every night is because of the sacrifices that people like you have made, in addition to the other veterans and the people still currently serving in the armed forces as well. That is the reason why we have the freedoms that we're given. And so when we look at the prospect of a potential Biden administration, do you fear that the outlook when it comes to foreign policy will once again revisit those of the Obama-era days, where, for example, there were increased involvement in places like Libya, where there wasn't involvement when it came to the people of Iran rising up, for example, things that a lot of people look back in hindsight and say we could have done things differently. Do you fear that we're returning to the past?
Well, it's not a fear that we are. It's no that we most likely will. I mean, we are going to be within, if we do not have free and fair elections, we're going to have a very divided country, probably worse than it has been over the last 4 years. But more so is if Joe Biden does prevail, we are going to be right back into the mix of where things have been. I mean, just the other day, Morocco has agreed or has stepped up to sign a peace deal with Israel. That's the third or fourth country that we have had under the Trump administration, under Trump's leadership and his people, that have brought or is making huge steps to bring peace to the Middle East. Yeah. Something that no president before has done. Why? Because they've put the industrial military complex first. They have put their own personal feelings on how things should get done. I mean, you go back as far as John Kerry, and John Kerry had said it is, there's no way that you can get peace in the Middle East without the Palestinians. Well, I'm sorry, we see it happening today, and it is unfortunate that most likely all these strides going forth will probably be lost if we're not very careful. We need to keep. I mean, I'm a Trump supporter, obviously, but more than anything, I am a supporter of our Constitution, and I really believe that we have to make sure that we, the American people, feel that we had free and fair elections.
Right. And, you know, as we're looking at the people that Joe Biden, for example, is nominating right now, it does raise some alarms. For example, you have Tony Blinken at the State Department. He's a former West executive, someone who is basically a defense contractor. And then you also have the man who's been tapped to lead the Pentagon as well. I mean, he's a former Raytheon board member. So to your point, a lot of people are fearful that we are returning to those type of rotating door type of policies that bring us back into these endless wars. But Mark Geist, I really appreciate you coming on the program tonight, giving your outlook on not only the Biden administration, but also the needs of veterans, something that goes very underreported in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you.